All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look here at JUV. And just before we do, we always look at Bitcoin first. And I do want to thank very much my patron for requesting that I cover this here today. I do appreciate the recommendation. And I just want to kind of preface and basically tell you here, if you're new to the channel, first of all, I'm not a financial advisor, but more importantly, we always look at Bitcoin first to get a baseline of the market. Because if you're not looking at Bitcoin before you look at other coins, you're doing yourself a significant disservice. Because almost every single altcoin out there is responsive to Bitcoin's movement, right? So just keep that in mind. Now, I just want to quickly highlight here, we've got an ascending wedge pattern here forming that may or may not come to fruition based on tomorrow being Monday, first day in the market when, we have the whales back. They have a tendency of taking their profits on Mondays. Keep that in mind. That being said, though, we should experience some type of breakout to the upside, perhaps in the near future based on that sentiment alone. We have a resistance at 56,000, support at 53,800, secondary support at 52,600. Okay, so nice little support channels here just in case the price were to retrace and come back down. But I would venture to guess if we see the one-day candlestick here today close above 56,000, we're going to see that work as a new support level moving forward. All right, let's take a look at JUV here. Look at the one-day chart. Now, I got this request a short while ago, so I do apologize for the delay, but I can tell you based on what I see here so far, this definitely has a tendency of ramping up and selling off quite hard. So you're going to want to make sure that you have profit targets in place. That way you can take profits while you can when the price does increase, because you can still make plenty of money on these. It's just that you want to be careful and cautious and make sure you have the correct stop targets in place. And oftentimes it can be difficult to anticipate based on the fact that this doesn't look like there's really any major support and resistance levels being honored. But actually, why don't we just go ahead and mark some and see? Just kind of spitballing before we do say that. So got a nice resistance here at about 1794. We can see that got stopped out a couple of times there as well. So actually there is some correlation between some of the previous resistance levels, but just keep in mind if you're going to set profit targets, put them just below those major resistance levels. So that way you can get cashed out before that happens. All right, so taking a quick look at the RSI on the one day, we're above 50, below 70. That's a good sign. We like to see that. Also note as well, we have a MACD convergence here, fairly recent. Actually, no, correction, that's 10 days ago. Not super recent, but we do see somewhat of an ascending pattern here, right? Now, this isn't 100% foolproof, but it definitely does show that there is a continuation to the upside. Most coins are doing that right now. Keep that in mind just based on Bitcoin's movement recently. But I would speculate here that JUV has a possibility of breaking to the upside here in the near future. But what I recommend doing is setting your stop targets and ensure that you have a nice stop loss set somewhere around 1050, 1046, just to be on the safe side. And obviously we want to see how the next few days go, right? So this just continues sideways, then this ascending wedge pattern is no longer valid, but based on its movement here so far, there's a good chance it might continue to increase. Now I'm venturing to guess we're seeing lots of volume spikes. Yeah, and that's again, that's not bad, it's just not great for consistency and being able to anticipate where this is going to go. Because these volume spikes are kind of pushing it in one direction, yes, but then it has to retrace and recover too. So it kind of causes a lot of problems. I recommend staying away from coins like this, just in general, or if you do, use a small percentage of your portfolio. Don't put your entire bag on this because it's just one of those things that's going to potentially bite you in the ass. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Be careful. Always stick with coins that are larger market capitalization, that have good volume and good consistency in volume too. Those random spikes just kind of show that there's manipulation in place, because it's definitely not people like you and I doing that, right? So just bear that in mind. So that being said, looking at the 4-hour chart, let's take a quick look at the moving averages. We can see the 50s working as a support level there. Of course, it's moving concurrent with that wedge pattern, so that could venture to continue to push the price up. Just keep that in mind. That could work out favorably. Also, another good sign here as well, even though the price came up and came back down, take a look at this RSI. It's hovering right above 50. And most people don't know this, but the 50 on the RSI is a very good support and resistance level. So when the price being above, it's considered a support. It's holding right there at that support level. So it's safe to say too as well, at this point, we got a pretty strong support establishing itself right on 1436. Take a look at the 1-hour chart, see if we can find anything further. Because again, these sharp increases followed by previous consolidation, it's not healthy. So keep this in mind. Anytime you have a significant increase, like this one, for example, let's just pick them out of a hat. There's like a bunch of them here. 36% in a 1-hour time frame. I'm venturing to guess it might even be like a 15-minute time frame. In that 1 hour, we see it jump up and then sink way back down. In fact, that came down to its original starting point. That is a very unhealthy. In other words, most increases like this, at least a healthy increase that jumps up 100%. It should come down about 50% and average out. This is not doing that. It's jumping all the way up and almost coming back down to its original starting point, plus or minus a small percent. That is not good. I don't like to see that. I would personally stay away from a coin like this. Again, feel free to invest, but just know it's more of a gamble than an actual accurate assessment of what it's going to do next, because at this point, really, it's hard to say specifically. So just, I like to say that because, again, to my patrons out there that are watching this, be careful, be cautious, proceed with caution when we see this kind of volume increases and just this kind of pattern. Very significant large wicks, and basically tell us there's a lot of manipulation in place. So I just want to make sure you're careful with that, and just know that this is a kind of I would say more of a risky coin. It reminds me of like pink sheets or penny stocks. I do remember those. There's again some awesome wins in there sometimes, but there can be some difficult losses too. So just be very aware of that. So not much else to really disseminate here, minus the fact that this is just a coin that I would recommend all in all just avoiding or just being very cautious. Proceed with caution. Respect the resistance and support levels. If we look at everything right now, let's pull up Fibonacci really quick and just kind of see, so we can get quick perspective on support and resistance levels. Okay. Now, as we can see, we're right in the middle. That mark that I put, it's about 50% of the difference, right? Fibonacci usually goes like 60-40, so it's usually just above and just below. So we have a pretty strong channel here, just between 1393 and 1513. So you could say $14 to $15 is kind of its average true range right now, and we're going to probably see it kind of hopefully hover around there for a little while, but likely progress upwards. Okay, so again, we got some support levels there. Traditionally speaking, for a normal technical analysis, you can expect this to continue to increase based on what I see here. So what I see, we should expect an increase. I just have that shadow of a doubt here that this is one of those coins that has significant again manipulation. You can see with those super long wicks. So it would you definitely be you want to respect these resistance levels and support levels, and just make sure that you proceed with caution. So just recommend that to all of my patrons. So thanks again for watching. And also, if you're new to the channel, consider joining my Patreon account. In fact, it's really awesome. We got a trading community. I share all of my trades with my community members. I have about an 85% success rate. So we're all making money, and it's all a really good experience. So check that out in your own time. And of course, thank you so much for joining me here today. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.